Hey everybody, welcome to Spill the Immunity. It's Thanksgiving, and so happy Thanksgiving to everyone that's hanging out with us today. And we have a special guest. Mike is joining us. Welcome back, Mike. It's so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And Brandon and Alex in the house. How you
We're
guys?
here. We're
You're
here.
You're here. You're not stuffed yet either, so it's early day.
No, well, our breakfast looked like Juwan's take-home breakfast from Survivor, so we're still fine. We're very hungry. We're waiting, but yeah, I'm actually in the Indiana Dunes. Which everybody out there, if you want to come to Indiana to do anything, Indiana Dunes is a good kept secret. Not the best kept secret, but it's nice. So
I don't even know what that means.
it's a long. And I'm going to explain now because it felt like an invitation. It's along Lake Michigan, and it's just a whole bunch of sand, and it's a beach in Indiana. Who knew? Who knew?
They went out on a limb and used the word dunes.
Wow!
So, wow! What
Get
a
to the
stretch.
episode, Bree.
I'm all fired up because
How
I've just
dare
been
you.
wrangling a turkey, making some homemade stuffing, baked the cornbread, ready for the day. But I'm most excited is to hang out with you guys and really get the tea on what we thought of this episode and what we thought of. We had a boy band. So I want to go around the room. I'm gonna start with Alex. What do you think?
What do I think of the whole episode? You know, this episode I changed. You know, I was a notorious hater. And I don't know, I just started to like everybody this episode. I started to like the show. You know, as it's getting down there, I think, you know, it's getting a little bit more interesting because the advantages are coming into play. The alliances are, you know, things are just changing. Like the gameplay is getting a little bit more dynamic. I like Juwan. The episode, of course, he gets voted off. You know, you really saw Juwan as like, you know, what everyone's been saying, oh my God, Juwan is so nice and everybody loves Juwan. And you got to see that in this episode. Sophie, Deloitte Sophie, or whatever they call her, Yellow Sophie. You got to see, like, she's playing. Like, she's actually doing the game. You saw a little bit of fake out from Rizzo and the extra vote. So I just thought this episode was more dynamic. The challenge was good. I like Survivor. Go figure, right? So
It's the
That's what we
holiday
need to do.
season.
We'll get a
Finally,
co-host that
it's
hates Survivor, that we're forcing to watch it. We've tied them up in a room somewhere on a dune, and they're making them watch
It is a lovely dune. It is a lovely dune. Unbelievable.
I'm glad you liked it, Alex. Mike, what did you think?
I think the episode itself, just to kind of repeat what Alex was saying, it really revived kind of my enjoyment of Survivor. It was fun to watch the different players play different games, but it was also fun to like root for everybody. Like it was kind of fun to like see all the different plays and who was connected to who, and Yellow Sophie getting her yellow edit that's not a purple edit anymore. And so it's just really fun to kind of see them come out of their shell a bit, maybe a little too late for some of them, but I think it was a really fun episode to watch.
I had a lot of fun watching it too. I have some thoughts on it, but I want to get to Brandon first. Brandon in the Dunes, tell us what you think.
And here's the thing. So it's from your boy band here at Spill the Immunity right here. We're going to all three agree that it was a great episode. I do think, Bree, that I'm going to hit on maybe something you're going to hit on, and that is Jeff's announcement of saying, hey, let's tell all the world that Savannah and Rizgod are playing this season. I think even though this episode was great, it would have been 10 times better had we not known Rizgod and Savannah are going to go to the next season, because this was their crowning moment to get them on season 50. And I think that if I did not know this, if this was a Parvati giving idols away at Tribal Council to Sandra and Jerry, this would have been a pretty close equivalent to the, I want to say, to the boldness of the move, but the excitement of the move. It was exciting, but I think it would have been even more if we had no clue that these two go on to season 50. So still a great episode, still a great play. Love. I said love. I did not love him at first, but RIZGOD, loving his game.
I'm loving it too. I really like this episode, and I will say it is the first episode that I watched this season where knowing that those two are going to be in 50 wasn't top of mind the entire episode. I actually got into the episode. I really liked it. I liked all the little sneaky tactics and the different things that were being said. I'm still wishy-washy on Yellow Sophie. I don't know if spilling the beans all the time and kind of being that middle it's a hard place to play, though she did. She gets to make some decisions on which way the tables do turn, but it was kind of a moot point. I just really liked the whole thing. And at the end, I started going, okay, yeah, I know these two are going to make it into 50, but it wasn't right in the top of my mind the whole entire episode, which it has been up until now, which is why I wish they had never told us any of it, because I just think that I just don't like it. But yeah, I love this episode. I was sad to see Juwan go home. I like him. I think he's gonna, I think he'll be great on the jury as well. But I would like to have seen him stay a little bit longer. But I was also actually happy to see Steven stay, because I do enjoy him a lot, and he was close to going home. It could very well have been him. So I was a little worried.
Well, and Brie, going back to the point of Savannah and Rizgod and us finally seeing, I think there was lead up to, okay, they're going to do something cool with what they got. We finally got to see something that was greatness, what was 50 worthy. And so now the question is, even since we do know, we saw what got them on 50, now do they actually go on and go to the final 2 or 3 and get this done? So I think that it has added more intrigue to these. We've reached that hump where we see how they get on, and now it's just, can they win the game? So I think there's an extra amount of excitement to these last couple episodes.
I agree. I want to get into that big challenge that Jeff kind of gave it like but the producers have been working for a year on this, and it just get to this moment. And it didn't disappoint. So there was the amazing bag of rice challenge. So what did you guys, it didn't have the impact. The rice didn't have the impact. None of the players wanted it. It's they're 17 days in. They've got 10 to go. They don't care about rice at this point. What did you guys? Did you think it was? Does it lose its impact a little bit when they just came out of didn't they just get a reward challenge? So it loses its impact. Alex, I saw you ready to jump in on that.
Well, it was a weird negotiation. I mean, I understand there's like an edit, but it was like, here's the rice. And then Juwan's like, well, what about for half? What about for a quarter? And then Jeff like abruptly cuts it off. And he's like, nah, you guys don't want it. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. So it was a really weird edit because they're like trying to cut a deal. And then Jeff's just like, you know what? Don't talk yourself out of it. Let's just do the challenge. So that was an interesting thing. Yeah,
well,
but it didn't really make a difference. There was no time urgency or anything, right? I think that the knife, yes, we want to see the knife. We want to see Jeff with a giant Bowie knife stabbing bags of rice. But if it's this open-ended, conversation that they can negotiate for as long as they want, and then Jeff just has to abruptly cut it off, I don't know if it has the same effect.
Doesn't that make you want to see season 50's Angelina back again to negotiate and bring her skill set? Because Juwan ain't no Angelina.
Oh my word, he was not. Mike, would you have taken the rice?
I think you have to be starving for 18 days. I think to really understand what the negotiation tactics are, right? Like, are you that hungry at 18 days? Probably. Does that rice look great? Probably. But when you're in a group of 8 people who have no idea what each of them are going to do at tribal council, I think Riz actually said it the best. I'm here for $1 million, and in 7 days I can eat rice. So I think ultimately, and to go back to the edit that Alex was talking about, this idea that, potentially this negotiation lasted 30, 40 minutes and we only saw 2 minutes. It's very possible that there was some waffling and wishy-washiness. And so Jeff was just like, you know what, you guys are waffling so much, and like this, let's just end it. Let's just do the challenge. So I think that there's this desire to have the rice in the moment, but I think, does that supersede the $1 million that you could win in 7 days?
Yeah, agreed. I don't know if I'd ever take the rice. I just don't, because here's what I do know. If you are starving and you haven't eaten much, like the first 5 days are the hardest, but you get to a point where your body adjusts. We're pretty amazing creatures. Our bodies adjust. Yeah, we're starving, but we're also kind of used to it by now. And it may not have, unless it's a burger from Applebee's, I don't think rice is not gonna have the same effect, at least in my opinion. Brandon?
I just don't enjoy Applebee's, but I agree with everything you said until you got to Applebee's, and then you lost me.
Well, I meant a big mouth-watering burger, like with all the fixins on it and the fries.
Oh, yeah. Sweet potatoes with the marshmallow toppings. That's the stuff right there. I would have, if he would have said, here's some sweet potatoes I just made in Jeff Probst's kitchen with the marshmallows and the caramelized, whatever, I would have quit the game.
Yeah, you don't have to do the Southwest egg rolls. You can just do the
yes.
Do you think that this challenge was also a reason that so many were like, I don't think so, because this was actually a really great challenge, and it wasn't one of those that seems almost impossible. You know what I mean? Like, there are some that you get there and you're like, I'm never going to be able to do this. Yeah. And this one looked like fun and pretty doable we didn't see anybody. I mean, Christina with the balance beam a little bit, getting her puzzle pieces over, but in all honesty, it seemed a pretty even playing field. So when you see that you have such a good chance, and maybe you do great at puzzles, at least in your mind, you think you do, there's no incentive. It's not like stand on a tiny little ledge holding 20 teacups and placing silver dollars on top, kind of a, I don't think I can do this kind of challenge. What was that? Was back in like China, wasn't that? The coin?
Teacups and coins. Yeah. That was early.
I like those too. I think those are fun, but they're hard.
Yeah. They broke all the teacups, so they can't do more. I agree. I think that if it was some kind of endurance challenge that, you have had, Christine, I think would have stepped down, but she was pretty charged. Jeff got her, from 1 to 9 really quickly. So maybe she would have done every single challenge she threw at him because of the Jeff pep talk for missing her mom. That was a sad moment. I don't mind those. We talked earlier this season about, do we want to hear stories or not? I thought that kind of story in that kind of way, I like that kind of storytelling. I like hearing those parts of the season. Yeah. Rizka, did he have like a reason for him crying? Like, I understand it's hard, but is he going through something that we know about emotionally?
Not that I know.
He is crying.
Alex? He won cheeseburger.
Oh, okay. Well, fair point.
I think he was just hungry. He's hungry.
I thought in that challenge you really saw Sophie. They've been alluding to Yellow Sophie. She's so threatening. She's such a threat. Like, we got to watch out for this girl. I mean, like I said, I think you saw her intelligence this episode. She's strategic. She understood that her and Steven are two kind of aligned on that intellectual level. That's like kind of where they're competitive. And so she's trying to be kind of that mastermind. You saw she's a challenge threat, really good at puzzles. Savannah did okay at the puzzle, but I mean, if Sophie can beat rocket scientist Steven, I mean, she's really good at that. And I liked all of her strategy. I liked all of her, behind the scenes, like talking to the camera moments. The one thing, though, that did give me pause was at Tribal, when they said, who voted for Juwan? And her hand shot up so fast. And then you saw in the preview for the next episode, she's talking to Sage, and Sage is like crying and is like, you were smiling while you were voting Juwan off. Like, you were getting too much. And she also said multiple times throughout the episode, when they were eating the hamburgers too, she was like, this is for $1 million. Don't feel bad for those people. This is refueling you what you need for your own individual game. Yes, that's true. You don't say it out loud. So she just kind of puts her foot in her mouth a little bit on like she just appears a little bit too selfish on some things. But I do think, I don't know, like she's in a good position right now because you saw Sophie and Sophie on the preview from the next episode. Sophie knows that she can't go to the end with Savannah and Rizzo.
Mm-hmm.
So you might see this Sophie Squared alliance, and then maybe they bring in somebody like Christina, and that's a really interesting final tribal. And who wins that? I think it's going to be like yellow Sophie, because I don't think blue Sophie's going to be able to articulate her case, and that I don't think she's actually going to end up using her knowledge as power advantage effectively either, because all the advantages are essentially out of the game. Or maybe she steals Rizzo. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm projecting. Like, they need to realize like Savannah and Rizzo are so in charge, and if they can't get one of those people out at the end, they're obviously going to win. And maybe this is where, this is what I was seeing in Sophie from the beginning. Like, she's just got that look of a winner. There's something about her. I don't know. Yellow Sophie. Okay.
I was surprised. Here's the one thing that I was, and I can see both sides of this, but with Sophie getting the knowledge that Christina has an idol and she has knowledge as power, I would have imagined that would have maybe been a good time to use it, but she did it.
I saw it side, and I think that was my first reaction to that. But then I started thinking, like, they still have 7 players in this game, and you haven't told anybody about this knowledge is power. And so now Savannah and Rizgod are left to think, wait, she didn't tell us this. She's now the one playing hardest than anybody else, and she ain't going to win immunity. So I'm absolutely fine with, especially since she's kept that a secret, not using
Agreed.
It last
and
night.
I did see the other side of it, but I did say I was thinking this was a great opportunity to do an idol grab because that knowledge was spilled to her, and they had it, and she's just got to hope now, like you said, I don't know if she will ever use it because we just don't know, but she could turn it and flip it on Riz. I mean, there's some opportunity in all of this stuff to grab it. Now my dogs are going to go crazy.
Turkey on the table.
No, the turkey's away. He's not getting the turkey.
Good. I'm worried.
I have that turkey protected.
Good for you.
Yes. Okay, I want to move into Rizzo's game. Because like you guys and like Alex said, I'm really starting to like, I haven't liked his game. I mean, I've liked his game. It's good enough, but I don't really like the guy very much. I actually liked him in this episode, and I could see, to me, he kind of almost passed Savannah now. And if I had those two together, who do I think would win? I'm almost, and it was a number of different things, but I'm interested to see what does how do you think his game is going? And do you think what do you think is the reason he could win? I'm going to start with Mike.
Yeah, I think, looking at Rizzo's game, I've seen kind of like bits and pieces of like why he ends up on 50. This episode, I think, confirms why he ends up on 50. So I agree with that. I disagree with the fact that I like the guy. I find him abrasive in like the weirdest way. Like, I don't think he means to be abrasive. I don't think he means to be like irritating at times, but I think the way he says things and the way he kind of presents himself, and maybe that's because we're watching him, I find him a little grating. What I thought was interesting about the tribal council is that he specifically says, I want to put on a show. And he says it in front of everybody. And to me, that was like confirmation for me that I'm like, I can't play with this guy. I can't like this guy. He's obviously here for the presentation of it all. And then when he plays the fake idol, I'm like, okay, buddy, like you're just here to just cause chaos and which is fun to watch. But like, I think as a player, I think he's just a little bit too performative.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the idol play. Like, it was just for him to say, I know where the vote is going, and I'm still not going to do it because I know we have the extra vote. So that was kind of his way of saying, I know what's happening. I could play the idol. So I didn't really understand that. Like, yeah, a little bit performative. He could have just said, I know Savannah. Hey, Jeff, everyone knows I have an idol. So I didn't understand that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really dislike Rizzo. I don't think, though, that this was enough for those two to be on 50. I mean, I think if you need to take somebody from the season, obviously it's going to be them. They used an extra vote effectively. I don't know. I mean, they're so in control of the game as far as like Steven and Christina are just completely wiped out. I mean, they're just totally like they're destroyed.
They didn't win this game.
Like,
There's no way they're
emotionally destroyed. We almost had like a I'm pissed moment from Christina, bless her heart, but like that was like one of those moments, like the editing on that, like that was kind of extreme. So they're really running the game. And and why Rizzo would win over somebody like Savannah, well, you saw it when she was talking to Christina, and she like looks at people and they mentioned this, like she's too direct, she's too harsh, she does the reporter mode where it's just like no nonsense, and she just it doesn't have any she doesn't give people the warm and fuzzies at all. She's just like, where are you voting? And Christina's like, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to play with somebody like that.
I loved it when she said that.
Yeah, no, it was like, well, why couldn't you say that? And
that gave in-laws just got in the door, and I need 5 minutes alone before everybody starts talking to each other energy. That was fantastic.
So I think Rizzo, but I don't know if Rizzo will win because is he super well liked by people? Not like Jawan. I mean, who's going to go to the end right now? And like Steven, I think, is the biggest threat, the most liked out of everybody. I don't know if Blue Sophie is enough, like has enough, is impressionable. Like she's really likable. I really like Blue Sophie. Savannah's not likable. Yellow Sophie, I think like she's, I don't know if she's going to be like, there's a lot of probably resentment on the jury for her too. Christina, if she gets to the end, I think she's winning, but I just don't think she's going to get to the end. Just because I think she's the most well-liked on the panel, but I don't know. Maybe that's not true. She hasn't done anything deserving to win the game, so if they're looking at gameplay, they wouldn't vote for Christina.
Yeah,
I don't know. Likability. It was all about likability.
Yeah, she couldn't play her idol correctly. She didn't do anything in challenges. There was no alliance that she developed or any well thought out plan. That I don't think those people win Survivor anymore. I think, and I don't think even if it was I don't think there's such thing as a crazy bitter jury. I mean, there are some people that I think would vote and be like, hey, I'm just going to snub this person one more time and not let him win. So I'm not too concerned about Yellow Sophie on that. I
think she should be perceived as a goat. Sorry. I do think Christina, bringing her to the end is like, you bring her to the end because she is like a goat, but
yeah, she's a 0 vote finalist
right.
at this point in the game. And unless she does something crazy that doesn't get her onto season 50, which I don't think is going to happen either, I just think that her game is pretty much toast. And I don't know if Steven has it in him to do enough to make that make sense. He could align, if he was smart, he would line with Sophie, and Sage.
Right.
I just don't know if they can all make that happen because as we were talking about Rizgod at the very beginning of this conversation, and went all these awesome routes with it. I agree with Michael saying that if it was the private confessional Rizgod that we're voting to win, he would not win. But he's the one from this whole season that knows when to say things, when to be braggadocious, and when to just be humble. Now, again, can you call humble what he did at the very end of this episode? But you just got to remember that we just got done seeing Rachel Lamont win a season where she did some fake trickery, tomfoolery stuff, and that got her to win the game. So I think you got to use what the players did before, and this is better than I think what Rachel did. So it's the evolution of the game, and I liked it. I like that he used a fake idol to kind of read the room. No one's done that before. Is it shiny, and that's the kind of thing I like? Yes. But I do think that he does stay private enough in his braggadociousness to be likable and perhaps win because of a strategic way. So I think he's sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, I actually like, you know, with Riz, he became I just liked him his when he lets his guard down just a little bit, and that's when the boy band happened. And we got to see actually some fun times at camp, which we hadn't really seen a lot of them just goofing around and having some downtime. And it, you know, I started to kind of like him. I was like, oh, he doesn't have this, he's not always this macho, like trying to be this dude that he's not, which I think he's definitely putting. I think that what
Did you like the soprano, Brie?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But I just thought it was funny, and I thought it was fun, and it was, you know, I can be silly and goofy and not try so hard to be the RIZGOD, which I just think is ridiculous. I mean, I started to like the guy because he just was, it felt much more authentic to me than whatever this other stuff is that he does. And I'm going to put on a show, and I'm like, you're not that guy. You know? So for me, I was, yeah, I much prefer the one that was singing and doing the stuff at camp. But I like that I got to see that. That to me, that was the part that did it for me with him. So Alex, did you like? Would you be in a boy band if you were on the island with all these guys and girls? Would you start a boy band?
I mean, whatever I got to do to get to the next vote, right? I mean, if I got to be a part of the boy band.
Boy band with an accent.
Right.
With an, yeah.
It's like alliances. You never say no. Never say no.
Yeah. See, Brandon, you can be, like I said, should we do a little something right now?
I think we should do the boy band thing, because I think this is your, hey guys, I'm a reporter. You would go on and tell your big secret of, guys, I'm a second tenor. And you'd wink.
Right. I couldn't tell people that.
Yes.
Right.
Let's hear it.
You go, please, you first.
I sound like Riz God, man. I ain't gonna play these games.
I think we'll skip the music this week, but I'll rescue all of you.
Come back next week. Yeah, we'll prepare something.
Oh yes.
I'm really a pharmacist. No, just to throw something out there. I don't know. All right, I want to shift gears again. Does anyone want to send Sage some Kleenex? She really lost her crap at the end of this episode.
Yeah, she got destroyed.
That was the reason she was going to win the game, is that alliance, that 3-person alliance, and she doesn't even have that. She wasn't invited to the popular table at the very beginning of the game, in her words, and now her 3-person alliance was completely dismantled.
And she's sitting home alone with a bottle of Blackheads. Sorry. That'll go well with the turkey dinner today.
I have really enjoyed Sage throughout the season. I think that her take on the game is so kind of refreshing. Like, she's very honest about, like, this is like, you have to be fake to people, and I'm not a fake person, so I'm going to try my best to be fake. But like, we see all the little moments of her, like giving us the hint, right? Like that fourth wall, like saying, like, I'm not actually, like, I'm being fake. Like, you guys know my reality. Like, you know how I really feel. And so it's kind of been fun to be the fourth wall with her. So I've really enjoyed her take on the game. But I also feel like this is a moment for her to kind of like regroup and kind of say, I'm not going to let this mess me up. Like, but I think that showing a little bit of emotion there, I'm also wondering how robotic she may have been with some of the players in the game. And so this kind of shows that she's got some emotion, she's got some connection and some feeling into the game. So maybe this makes her more relatable to some of the other players in the game who have been a bit more emotional. So my hope is that Sage actually does find a new place in the game and can kind of use this to her advantage and move forward.
There's definitely plenty of places for her to go. That's what I love about the season is Soph, Blue Soph, is definitely way willing to play this game still. I know that she's been tightly aligned with Savannah and Rizgod, and I think for great reasons. I think that she can go there. I think she can go to Yellow Sophie now that the Sophies have kind of made up for whatever, kind of weird tiff that they went through that was undisclosed. Steven's by himself. So there's plenty of places for them to go. And we'll see what happens with Sage. I'm not ready to send her tissues yet. She's not out. Yeah.
I think she's interesting in how Juwan was her number one. That was the reason she was so upset. I think revealing that much of like the emotion on it probably wasn't. It was like a long. I mean, I don't know. Who knows how long those last. Also, it was really funny that Juwan took Rizzo's torch. That was really funny.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, I wanted.
I know you're probably going to mention that, but I was like, that was really funny.
Yeah.
Perfect way for him to
foreshadowing anything. I mean, was it? I mean, because the producers.
It's a review. It's not a foreshadow. It's a review of who Juwan is.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'll go with that.
With Sage, I mean, her, I think, logical next step is to align with Yellow Sophie, Christina, Steven. Blue Sophie can stay out of it, right? They don't even need. They just go through with those 4, and they really need to attack the 3. Can Sage, though, get over that betrayal? Like, but what's the other? It's kind of like this thing. It's like I feel like they might come after Yellow Sophie because she's playing the middle, but you have this solid 3 who is so solidly against them, right? And is against Sage and wants nothing to do with her. I mean, they were sort of working with her on a couple of votes post merge. But then I think this is like the big flaw of the season. What I've been saying this entire time is like they keep kind of not going after the big threats, which is Rizzo and Savannah, because they've almost disguised themselves as being so like on the opposition. They just seem like so unattainable to eliminate that they just go for these people who were playing the middle, aligning with Rizzo and Savannah and Sophie, instead of just, cutting off the head of the snake, right?
Well, I think Sage has been bringing it up, and even Juwan had brought it up. We got to get rid of them. We have to get rid of them, and then it never just happens.
Yeah,
and then they took their shot, and they blew it. Right? You can't take your shot and not hit your target. But I think if, in my opinion, if Savannah and Riz and Sophie were being smart, they would get rid of Yellow Sophie at this point and pull Sage in, because Sage isn't going to have a chance at winning immunities, but Sophie is. And so I think you're going to, and you heard Sophie saying, we got to, the Sophie squared, it could be a problem. So who pulls Sage in and who does it effectively, I think is who we're going to see moving forward, because I see Sage as kind of the lost puppy, needs a home. I don't know what to do. And I think that they could pull her in, possibly.
I think they could. And I think, we've been talking about this whole when are they deserving a 50 thing. I really do think it was this past move, but I think they have one more move up their sleeve. And I think maybe it's not even a move. I think it's Savannah wins immunity and Rizgod has the idol. And so they can't do it again. And it becomes one of those Mike Calloway stories where, they just keep on having what they need to have at the right time. So that's where I see it happen. And I think, I've been wondering too, like, why isn't Soph being considered on season 50? And I don't think she's done nearly enough as Savannah and Rizgod have. I'm not saying that, but I was like, oh, she's got this knowledge of power thing. Does she take it away from Savannah? Does she take it away from Rizgod? Because that for sure would get her that spot. And I think that something happens to where it just becomes an inability on her part to even utilize it correctly. Because I think she's smart enough. I just don't think she has the tools.
Mike?
I think I worry that Savannah and Sage and that like kind of hidden animosity from Sage, I think is actually going to prevent Savannah and Riz from being able to pull Sage in, because Sage has narratively been very anti-Savannah. And I'm thinking that Sage is going to continue to be that way, especially with the big TV moment from, getting Juwan out. I think the cockiness of that move potentially makes Sage even more like gung-ho trying to get Savannah and Riz out, that I don't know if Sage is attainable for them. But I think Christina and Steven can easily pull her in. And if
Yeah.
they can get blue or yellow Sophie to flip, I think that's possible.
Yeah, Sage. In order for Sage to win this game, she has to get out Savannah, because that's been her number one thing that she's been trying to do this whole entire season. If you can't do your number one thing, I would not vote for you. And I think that's been her number one thing.
You know, Yellow Sophie still really needs Steven out too. So that's kind of the issue with her aligning with that way, is Steven is too similar to her, is more likable than her, can probably out debate her, is probably, you know, so that's kind of the issue with her, with Yellow Sophie. And then Yellow Sophie, she just plays, you know, all of her arguments are just like no emotion, all logic. And that's what you saw with Sage. And I guess it was like right after Tribal. So they were on the beach. It was dark. Sage and Yellow Sophie were talking. And, you know, so maybe Sage can come around and just understand, hey, you know, Yellow Sophie just plays a 100% logical game. You're too close with, you know, this duo. We need to start eliminating the duos. The next logical duos are Savannah and Rizzo, and Christina and Steven. Right. So it's now just getting these duos out. And then any duo who maybe makes it to the win, the stronger of that duo is going to be the winner.
Right. And to add to that too, I think Riz God's game has always been take out the middle person, play the person that get the position I want in this game. That's why I'm not too fearful of Sage. I think she lost a lot of stock in this vote. But I think the way that Riz God's been playing such an offensive game that's been utilized very, very nicely is that middle person gone. Sage will never be considered to them a middle person. And I think that because of that move, now Riz God thinks, okay, she's beatable at the end. Christina, she's beatable at the end. Steven, I still need to worry about him. But I think his big worry is going to be about Yellow Sophie now, because I think she's going to have to try to consider to play the middle, and that might get her the vote at the end compared to what Riz God's been able to do with that.
I personally feel like Rizzo and Savannah don't respect Yellow Sophie, and like they could probably position like, listen, she just like was not liked by her tribe, joined us. She didn't do anything. I think Yellow Sophie is going to overestimate her game. She's going to be like, oh, well, I had the social awareness to leave my old alliance and join the people with all the advantages. It's like, okay, I guess you just realized you're on a sinking ship and you became the bottom of another alliance. It's not great. I mean, it's better than the position you were in, maybe. But like, if they win the game, then that was actually a really terrible decision. If those two get to the end, or one of them gets to the end, you joining that alliance actually just helped the winner win. When you could have joined like a weaker alliance, which would have been like Christina and Juwan and Sage. You know, these people are just maybe less likely to. Maybe Juwan was because of his story and who he was more of a threat to win than maybe.
Yeah.
But her joining the winners doesn't make her like a smart strategic player necessarily.
Oh, and one more thing about this, I don't know if I don't think Sage, of course, had to tell Sophie, but Sage needed more people to get Savannah out, even though, you know, this whole building trust things by giving people information, there's a point to it, right? Like there's a point where you overplay your whole stack and you give way too much information out. And I think whenever Sophie tells Savannah, I don't know if she needed to build that trust with Savannah. I think enough people were going after Savannah. You didn't have to give her that information about Juwan. I think Sophie could have done a lot, but Yellow Sophie could have done a lot better with that than just tell Savannah, hey, by the way, Juwan and Sage have flipped. Because I don't think Savannah ever really had a good relationship with Sage to have to worry about that. So I think it was a big error on Yellow Sophie's part for giving her the information. She could have kept with the vote and still voted with Savannah and Riz God, but I think it was an overshare on her part to communicate that to Riz God and Savannah.
Yeah, I think she totally overshared. Like I said it earlier, I think that will be her undoing, and that's where they're going to, because of the physical threat, because she won an immunity, they don't want to, if they get a chance. I mean, I think Savannah's going to win the next immunity challenge. And I think that we're going to see the tides turn on Sophie. And what now I'm just like shooting things into the dark, but I see Sophie not using her her knowledge is power, but she wants to get Savannah. She's like starting to like, I can't win with Riz and Savannah, so it's time to turn. And she pulls Sophie in, the other Sophie in with her. And I think somehow Savannah and Riz find out about it, and Blue Sophie or whatever throws Yellow Sophie under the bus, and that's how she's out. Because I think that there's going to be some kind of break. I don't think they get Savannah and Riz out. We do see them in 50, and there's a rumor going around that I'd love your opinions on. There's 3 tribes on season 50. We know who's on each tribe, and we know that 2 of the tribes each have 1 winner.
Oh.
Okay.
So do we feel like they're going to have a winner on every tribe? 1 winner on every tribe?
Someone else take that for a spin real quick.
He's got to look it up. He's
Yeah,
like, I want to see.
Isn't it Savannah is the person who? Go ahead, Mike.
Savannah is on the tribe with no winner.
Yeah, I just don't see her winning. She's just so unliked. But if Rizzo gets voted out and she's the person who gets out Rizzo, then I think she probably deserves the win. But I don't know, because like I guess she deserves the win in the way that she was the threat the entire time and nobody was able to get her out. And maybe people respect that, and they just, I do see what you're saying though, with like getting Yellow Sophie out, that Blue Sophie goes and snitches on her, and then you have the situation where there's this perceived 3v3, Christina, Steven, Sage versus Savannah, Rizzo, and Blue Sophie. So you could see that and they say, oh, that's even, and we'll just fight it out and duke it out. And I don't think it's the right decision for that 3-person alliance. They need to get one of those people out, Savannah or Rizzo, as soon as possible. But I could see that happening.
Well, I
have a hot take on Blue Sophie.
Oh, go for it. I want to.
So this is what I envision happening. And since I probably won't be here with you guys next week, this is my hot take. So Blue Sophie has been keeping this knowledge of power very secret, which I think is really great. I think the vote kind of becomes like a pretty 4-3 split, something along those lines. I think either Steven or Yellow Sophie are the kind of big names that'll be put out there. I think one of them goes home. I think Rizzo is sitting at final 6, very solid with this idol in his pocket. I think Blue Sophie realizes that the only way for her to win the game is to take Sophie or Savannah out. I think she steals the idol from him at 6. I think she holds on to it for final 5, and she gets herself right to final 4. That's what I think is going to happen. And Savannah or Riz go home at final 6.
Is there a time frame where she has to use that by?
I think.
Why wouldn't she just use it at the following tribal, like 5?
Because you could, but like you need the idol at some point sooner than when you're going to use it, right? Like why steal it why not steal it and then hold on to it until final 5? Like have it so that nobody's going to come after you at final 5 because you've got the idol. That's my thought.
Yeah. I feel like she would, if she's going to steal it, then she's going to like steal it and use it and try to make the play in that moment, not steal it and then hold it to the next one. I mean, if she did do that, I mean, I think, but that might create like a lot of kind of resentment at camp. I mean, she'd be safe, so she couldn't go home. But it would be like a whole day of Rizzo resenting her and like, what am I going to do? Right.
Rizzo resentment is not a good thing.
You don't want Rizzo resentment.
You don't want that in life.
With a side
Unless Rizzo's the one that goes home at
resentment. 6. Resentment. Ooh.
Resentment. I like that.
That's our first boy band song. I think so many thoughts on that. I would like this is the love part. I would love for Blue Sophie to take Riz God's idol and play it against them, and that would be just magic. I don't see her doing that because she's not in season 50 and Savannah is. And Brie goes back to that point of, gosh, I wish I didn't know these people were playing next season. But your big thought on does Savannah win, and so she's the third winner on this boat. I was today years old when I saw there was no winners from the first 40 seasons. I didn't realize that for whatever reason. But I think it could happen. I think 3 winners on the same season is a good number. I think they did that for either Game Changers when it was like, what was it, Steven or JT, Queen, Sandra, and I thought there was a third winner.
Tony was on it.
Tony, yeah. And then for All Stars, I think they did 3 winners. It was Richard, was Tina on All Stars? I forget.
Mm-hmm.
And Sandra. So there was at least 3 there.
Sandra wasn't on All Stars.
What's that?
Sandra wasn't on All Stars.
Oh, Sandra, that's all right. Rupert was. But did they have a third winner on All Stars?
Jenna Maraska.
Okay. Yeah, so 3 winners. So I think that, Survivor likes this whole 3 winners on a season thing. There's some history. So Bree, I will go with yes. Savannah wins.
Was on there too. There was 4.
Oh, it's more than 2. It's more than 2. So
well, it'd be a good secret for like Rizzo or to Savannah to have to keep is that person won. And that could be kind of used as leverage against the other one. And like, you know what I mean? So that could be a good kind of dynamic.
I was hoping for Charlie and Maria. Like I wanted both of them on season 50 for that same reason.
Right.
That would have been so fun to watch. But yeah.
Maria's in hiding. Yeah.
Bree, I'll take the bait. I'm going to say Savannah wins.
There you go. This is why they shouldn't have told us, because then we get all these kind of crazy ideas of that we can guess and foreshadow and tell and know. And I don't like it. Jeff, don't ever do that again. Please don't ever do that again. But I do like the fact that you said no one will know their game and know who, if one of them won coming in to season 50, because it's filmed back to back. So
do they tell people? Does the other person? Like how do they use that? Yeah. Ooh.
Well, she won't even tell people she's a reporter, so I don't think Savannah's going to tell anyone.
And I think this is the first time that they've brought 2 people back from the season before, because oh my God, why am I blanking on his name? The really crazy one. Thank you, Russell, and then Rupert were both the only ones that were brought from their seasons. So it's interesting to have 2 people, because like you said, does Riz/Savannah use it against the other of how far they get or if they won or whatever? Because I think there is something brewing between Savannah and Rizzo. I don't think they're going to be the perfect couple going to the end, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, we got Camilla and Kyle. We got a lot of people that are, and they're on opposite sides of the fence on this one. They're on different tribes. They split them up pretty well. So here's the next question. The final question of the day. We got 10 minutes left. Thanksgiving dinner. It is Thanksgiving. Let's bring it back home. We are not all on the dunes. We are setting a table. And
I'm never coming back here again.
I know. We are setting the table. We're inviting 4 players from this season to Thanksgiving dinner. Who are you picking? And they can be voted off already. You don't have to pick from just anyone on this season 49.
We have 4 of them, or we're bringing 4 people?
You can bring 4 people.
Oh, I got to bring the boy band for entertainment. I got to bring Steven, Rizgod, and Juwan. We're going to sing me some songs.
Who's your 4th?
Ooh. Well, I said 3. So someone else. I'll come up with the 4th one here at the end. Somebody else.
Who's ready? Alex, are you ready?
I'll go. I'm going to bring Blue Sophie because she's funny. Steven for the space facts. I'm gonna bring Jeremiah because he's really funny guy. Not bringing the stripper. I'm just joking. And I'm gonna bring Jawan because he'll do all the dishes because he's like so like giving and just wants to take care of everyone. So Jawan will do all the he'll probably do all the cooking too. He'll do all the cooking. He'll do all the cleaning, and then we'll get this like funny comedy here between Sophie and Jeremiah.
Love it, Mike.
Jawan, I think that he and I are very similar. I think we're super nerdy. We would have a blast. We would have such a fun time together. I think Blue Sophie, I think she's hilarious. I find her engaging. Definitely would be fun to be around her. I'm gonna go with Jake the stripper. I feel good about just his energy and his excitement of the game. And I think he's a lot more to tell. He's got a lot of great stories. So I feel like Jake would be a great one. And then I'm going to go with Sage. I definitely don't bring the blackheads, but I think Sage would be a lot of fun to just kind of engage with, and I think she's just a real, like, authentic person, and it would be fun to be around her.
Love it. I love everyone's choices. I'm definitely going to bring Jeremiah because I just adore his personality, and I think he will be an absolute riot. And we didn't get to see enough of him, so he can come on over. And I also like Sophie, Blue Sophie. I think she's funny and quirky, and I think she will make it a really, really good time. And then I like Steven, just because I have to see, does he really look like Ryan Reynolds? I mean, does he really? Because he kind of does on TV, but like I got to see him in person to see if there's that resemblance. But I do love the space facts as well, and I want to hear kangaroo facts. So, Steven, you've been warned. You have to bring kangaroo facts with you. Don't put it out there unless you're going to deliver. And then finally, I'm going to bring Christina because I need that mom energy. I need that like family. We are, the way she is. I gotta have somebody that I can just chill with that'll help me in the kitchen, and like I can just see us like everyone else is getting crazy and we're just drinking wine and hanging and having a good time in the kitchen talking over the food and what we're doing. So
I love those. I don't like this whole Sage thing. The visuals of the blackheads still get to me. I won't be able to look at it the whole entire time. I would either bring Annie to join the boy band, to have a little thing, or just for all the other reasons that you said, Christina, for great reasons, for the mom energy, for all those things. I want Savannah to ask all the direct questions and to make things as dramatic. Ask all the questions that everybody really wants to ask about your family members, and just watch it happen and sit back and drink the wine. So that's my list. That's my list.
I love it. Well, we're gonna have some good Thanksgiving dinners with them, and we will not serve rice. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap things up. But before we go, we have to get our picks to go home next week. Mike, I'm starting with you.
I think Steven is in trouble. I think he's super well liked, and I think the fact that his name was out there already, and the fact that Christina was willing to play her idol on him, I think just proves how likable he is and how connected he is. So I think he's in danger right now, but I think if Yellow Sophie loses immunity, I think she's a hot take. I think her name is definitely going to be floating out there. So I think it's one of those two.
Alex?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm going to be really wishful. I'm going to say Savannah's going to go home. That's like super wishful thinking.
Yeah, that was no mind. That was all heart on that one.
Yeah, it's all heart, but I probably agree with what Mike's saying. I feel like it's going to go towards Steven. If Sophie doesn't win, she's too much of a challenge for these endurance puzzles. They can't get Steven out. Maybe he wins immunity. And so there's this kind of fake out, and they end up getting Sophie. So that'd be bad, but we'll wish that Savannah and Rizzo, but Rizzo is going to play as Ida won't play. Maybe it's Rizzo. Maybe, so I'm hoping it's Savannah or Rizzo just for the sake of the show.
Brandon?
Gosh, what I want to happen is Blue Sophie plays her knowledge's power to get Riz God's idol out, and then they vote him out. I do like Riz God, but that would be great TV. I don't even know who knows that he still has an idol. I'm guessing Savannah and Blue Sophie do, but we don't know that. So all that is great TV. That's why I hope to happen, what I think is going to happen. I actually think Steven is not in trouble. I think the vote on Steven was not necessarily more about who he is, but who Christina is. She was already one foot out the door anyways, and then she got redeemed by Jeff, and I think she was like, you know what? I'll throw it up in the air. I'll give it to Steven. That sounds more sacrificial anyways, and I'll go that direction. So I think Steven's safe. I think Christina's safe. I think Sage is safe. I think Riz God's been playing such a good game that he's been wanting the middle person out. He's going to find out that Yellow Sophie's playing the middle. Sophie Yellow is going home.
Sophie Yellow. I'm going to have to agree. I actually think that that Yellow Sophie is in trouble, just because, I think she gave up too much. I think she said too much. And I think it's going to come kick her in the butt this next episode. And if Blue Sophie gets caught, she'll throw Yellow Sophie under the bus. And that will be the end of that. Just a quick reminder, if you're looking for vacations, we recommend the Indiana Dunes. You can see that in the background right here. We wish you all a very wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you, Mike, for being here this
Thank you
week.
for having me.
We love you. Welcome to come back anytime and share your thoughts with us. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. We'll see you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Unbelievable. I'm gonna take your torch home. I'm gonna take your torch home.
Thanks.